Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Rogue Trader with me, Bragaton. Let's return to the Adeptus Amasecus and have a few conversations.
I always keep my options open.
Octaviana. The burly woman with a wealth of fiery hair is in the process of tinkering some unknown device that is clinking melodiously. She has a rough-looking implant in place of her lower jaw. As you approach, the implant begins to move, as if independently of the rest of her face. Welcome to the Adeptus Amasecus, sir. What can Octaviana get you? Amasec? Low? Something more interesting. Octaviana freezes in place. It can't be. Are you Sister Argenta? The Sister Argenta? The one who has the worst scum on Footfall shaking in their boots. The whole station is talking about you. And here you are, in the flesh, in our humble Amasecus. Argenta stops Octaviana's torrent of adoration with a calm gesture. No more. I seek retribution against transgressors, not glory for myself. Despite her words, you catch a glint in Argenta's eyes. You can tell she's enjoying this enraptured attention. What is this place? You're in the oldest watering hole in Footfall, sir. The Adeptus Amasecus is the only Adeptus one can find on Footfall. He laughs hoarsely. I'm Octaviana. I serve drinks, lend an ear. If it comes down to it, quiet the rowdy ones. She sizes you up carefully. Folks usually come to the Amasecus for either pleasure or business. Might I ask what's brought you here? Octaviana glances at Heinrichs. Judging by your company, I take you here for business rather than pleasure. I'm merely tagging along this time around. I have business here. We're better to do business than Footfall, am I right? Business is the only thing keeping this melting pot going. If this wasn't the best place to make deals, Footfall would have been stripped clean long before now, one asteroid at a time. Octaviana leans forward. Sitting at this bar often puts folks in a talkative mood. I don't see anybody paying me to keep quiet. Visits from eminent individuals like yourself boost the status of my establishment, so I could repay you by sharing what I've overheard. Some of it might help you out, in your dealings. About the woman that started a gunfight up at the bar. Why are you so interested? You looking into her or something? Octaviana catches herself upon meeting your gaze, and bows her head low. Apologies, sir, me and my big mouth. I guess it's why they broke my jaw so many times. She touches her implant. Octaviana, no need to deter the curious on my account. I take it as a supreme compliment when my fame compels others to talk about me, even when they talk as if I were not here. The dark-haired woman winks at you and laughs. Octaviana drops her voice. Jai, Jai's pretty great. She's made a name for herself here on Footfall. She's a woman who came from nothing. She follows the unwritten rules of this place. She doesn't walk all over weaker folks. She drinks like a fish to boot. There's lots to respect. The sad thing is, looks like she's got on the wrong side of Ladame. And since both of them, well, I guess all three of us, have ties to the Casbalica, there's no way out of this. Jai should get off Footfall while she still can. Better to lose her business than her life. Odd name, the Adeptus Amasecus. Not very reverent. Octaviana chuckles. What makes you say that? Do you know where you're standing? On the deck of the Martyr's Endurance, a sacred vessel that once belonged to the Adeptus Administratum. 100 years ago, the bureaucrats sent a mission here to establish a department, set up some kind of record-keeping, overhaul Footfall, and make everything here follow a billion laws to the letter. As you can see, it was the Martyr's Endurance and its inhabitants that got overhauled in the end. I don't know what happened to them, but the locals like to come here to make deals and count their money like before, in this temple of the Imperium's accountants. Over there, you can even see the signs been preserved. Partially. It's a dive like any other, no better or worse than the rest. She shrugs. It's the best Footfall has to offer, especially if you know what you're looking for. How are things here on Footfall? Haven't been to our fine station for a while, have you, sir? As per usual, there's never a dull moment. Either someone's getting shot in a square, or some rich guy's going on a safari to hunt commoners in the shadow quarters. Sure, the Legion makes sure that the local shenanigans don't get in the way of business on the station, but what happens on the outskirts adds a little spice to our lives. We make do, but the real trouble is, with every passing day it gets harder to find grub. I heard that some horrors are happening in the void outside Furibundus, that not all ships are making it here. The Legion's old patrons don't seem to be in a hurry to help. It's taking a toll on Vladame's authority. If his authority wobbles too hard, we have plenty of people lining up to take his place. Give me the latest. This one might interest you. A tale I heard from a tipsy voidborn from a cargo barge. They exited the warp halfway between Furibundus and the Aviora system. It came upon a shuttle wreck adrift. The shuttle was registered to the Inevitable Triumph, a merchant ship that disappeared decades ago. She was bound for Footfall, her cargo holds brimming with valuable goods, but she never made it. If anything at all survived the shipwreck, it could be quite the lucky find. Here's another tidbit for you. Or titbit. The poor sot was here bawling about how his crew tossed out a whole shipment of cargo along with the trash, and it was his fault somehow. He hid the fact. Once they docked at Footfall, he immediately went on the run. No surprise there. Had they discovered his blunder, he would have been executed. I don't know what sort of cargo it was. The ship he served on usually goes between Footfall and Winterscale's realm. She passes the Hundred Dreams Crossroads and Langren's Belt. If you happen by that area, you might want to look for whatever that idiot chucked overboard. That'll do it for now. It's been one thing after another lately. I figured I was due for some me time. Give me a splash of the local hooch, would you? Octaviana looks at you closely, then takes a bottle from a shelf and uncorks it. Transparent, pungent-smelling liquid quickly fills the glass that sits between you. Heinrich narrows his eyes. I speak from personal experience, Donnie Dawson. Don't. Take a good look at it. The glass contains a liquid that is clearly made from spent promethium. This is moonshine. Virtually unfiltered, it quickly blows a drinker off their feet, and when imbibed regularly, turns their liver into a bubbling sponge. Is this your attempt to poison me? Octaviana raises her brows. Pardon me, but you're the one who asked for the local hooch. It's the best homebrew you can get from the tech riffraff from the lower asteroids. Locally produced, high-octane number. Footfall's got no greenhouses or fruit orchards, sir. The people here get by with what they have. Yeah, we'll drink it. Liquid burns your tongue, then your throat, then your stomach. It takes your breath away, but after a few seconds, warmth spreads throughout your body. Your head feels a little lighter than usual. Octaviana clicks her tongue in approval. Heinrich raises a brow, clearly impressed, but says nothing. That's the second time I've seen a noble drink the octane blend without wincing. But I won't offer you any more. I've got just the thing set aside for such an occasion. Octaviana grabs a dusty, unopened bottle from under the bar and a clean glass. The ever liquid splashes against the crystal walls as she adds in a couple of black pebbles. Soft, spicy aroma tickles your nostrils. You said I'm the second person to drink that octane blend without wincing. The first was Caligos Winterscale. That's right. The head of House Winterscale himself used to come here often. Impressive guy. True, whenever he and his officers came through the door, the locals would find themselves a hole to hide in. Drinks weren't the only thing his lordship liked knocking back. If someone so much as looked at him funny, he'd paint the walls red. Drink. The Amasec warms your throat pleasantly. You can make out a hint of spice, the flavor of an oak barrel, and a distinct earthy aroma. You feel a little more at peace, and you reach the bottom of the glass sooner than you'd like. But give me something strong. Octaviana shows you an empty bottle, makes a helpless gesture. I'm sorry, sir. This is the last bottle of that year. What can I say? We're feeling the brunt of Footfall's shipment problems. I'll be going. Octaviana bows her head slightly. Until next time, sir.
Keep your wits about you.
Gorde Skatov. The flabby man in worn clothes is sighing sadly. Oh, my cousin said he saw some aristocrat lose a whole planet in a game of cards. Your cousin's talking rubbish. We don't have toffs like that in the Expanse. Well, the Rogue Trader could gamble away a planet, but I haven't heard of Chorda or, I don't know, Von Valancius pulling a stunt like that. The flabby man in worn clothes is sighing sadly over a glass of murky booze. Only when he looks up at you do you notice his eyes. Large, piercing, and full of sorrow. A stark contrast to his unkempt appearance. Could it be that someone actually wishes to keep me company? He takes a closer look at you. Not just someone, it's Lord Von Valancius himself. Yours is an ancient and glorious line, your lordship. A number of magnificent structures built on your ancestors' orders, both for defensive and decorative purposes, remain in the Skara sector. They keep your dynasty's memory alive despite the fact that it has long since focused its endeavors in a different sector. Ablar stares at you with surprise and respect. I'll be. Even I was unaware of such details. I spent quite some time studying the chronicles of your noble bloodline. I'm going to introduce myself. Gorde Skatov, architectural historian. You look deeply despondent over something. What happened? Gorde sighs heavily. Here I go again, pouring my heart out to have you disappear in 10 minutes, just like everyone else before you. But alright, here is a story of Gorde Skatov, or Skatov, the unluckiest historian in the Imperium. I was born 2 sectors away from here. My family was quite influential, which allowed me to dedicate myself to my great passion, the history of Imperium architecture. I spent a number of years studying every scholarly work there was to find on this art, and then, once I had inherited my family's fortune, I traveled and documented the development of architectural thought on different worlds. Until one day, oh that accursed and blessed day, until one day I came into possession of something quite special. Gorde pulls what looks like a book or an album with a homemade leather cover out of his bag. Both the pages and the binding look well worn. Here it is, my undoing. This is an authentic booklet titled Dwayne's Design, one of the thousands that were printed centuries ago, in the times of Footfall's construction. Keep listening. Footfall's founder, Lord Parsimus, is obsessed with his creation's grand future. This booklet describes in detail what Footfall was meant to become upon its completion. Dozens of asteroids turned into glorious palaces and temples, massive bridges spanning the void itself, and the marvelous flying buttresses, the archivolts of the exterior arches, the elegant arrangement of balusters. And the interior, proliferous 10 stories tall, more than a kilometer long, cyclopean light tubes that catch this light of pure abundance and use it to brighten the halls and the hearts of the asteroids. Stained glass windows and mosaics, bas reliefs and statues. Engrossed in his own description, Gorde stands up and starts tracing the outlines of arches and galleries with his hand. Adira blinks sleepily, barely suppresses a yawn, starts looking around with a bored expression. Jai, who looks just as unimpressed with Gordy's lengthy tale, catches Adira's gaze and rolls her eyes theatrically, making Adira snicker. Keep listening. Emerging from his reverie, he catches himself, blushes slightly, while he flops back onto his seat. I apologize, I got carried away. But you must understand how deep an impression this booklet left on me when my young self picked it up. I simply couldn't think about anything other than Footfall. I was ready to give my life just to see this incredible station. And of course, no matter how hard my friends and loved ones tried to dissuade me, I still gathered all my savings and set out on a journey. It is no easy feat to cross 2 sectors, especially for a common citizen, albeit one who has some resources at his disposal. I had to change one ship after another, at times being forced to stay on transfer worlds waiting for a vessel headed in the right direction, or for warp disturbances to subside. The voyage took me a total of 107 years. In real space-time, of course. For me it was much less than that, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 or 35. And then after all those years, having spent all my savings, I reached my dream. And what did I see? A dump in place of the exquisite portico. Metal anthills clinging to the columns. The marble tiles pilfered by paupers to use as cladding for their hovels. Gorde hangs his head. It's been a dozen years since I came here, and I still haven't recovered from the shock. I suspected that not everything from the booklet would exist in reality, but I never expected to see Footfall in such a sorry state. It's like stumbling upon the horrible, decomposing corpse of your beautiful beloved. Argenta's gaze darkens. The warp, like a shameless thief, is guilty of stealing the short span allotted to his servants. But what sense is there in spending half your life on such an enterprise, only to then lose your spirit and waste the remaining half on nothing at all? Your perseverance, Master Skatov, should have been applied elsewhere. However, the fact that you succumb to indolence after your journey is far more deserving of reproach than your questionable choice of life goals. But you're an architectural historian. Is what happened to Footfall not part of its history? Gorde strokes his goatee in thought. Yes, Footfall's current appearance, slums fused together with the remains of majestic palaces, is a unique phenomenon. I would be curious to observe if other places have taken after it, thereby solidifying it as a new style of architecture, or if it still remains a local oddity. My word, you certainly know how to provide an unexpected perspective on things. Be that as it may, I just wanted to say, thank you for hearing me out. Over the dozen years I have spent on Footfall, no one person has hung around long enough to listen to my story to the end. It's such a delight to have shared everything that's been weighing on my mind. I'm poor as a church mouse, but I still have something to offer you as a token of my appreciation. After studying the booklet thoroughly, I discovered something interesting. A ciphered message scattered throughout its pages. Taking the form of a riddle, it describes certain places of interest on Footfall. I believe it is the work of the booklet's creator. What if these riddles lead to something? A wondrous discovery. I'll gladly share what I've been able to learn with you. Have you not tried to make this wondrous discovery for yourself? I have, of course. I'm an old man who is blind in one eye and can barely move his legs. I never found anything, but that doesn't mean there's nothing to find. Tell me about the places these riddles lead to. The first location from the riddles isn't far from here. It's a bridge that was supposed to go through the center of this district and into the void toward the neighboring asteroid. Only a couple of its spans were built, and even those lie in ruins. Still, the cache survived after all those years. It is there somewhere. The second location is the Lantern of the Great Cathedral. A lantern is a small tower on top of a dome. You've seen Footfall's atrium, haven't you? The whole atrium is just the nave of the former little cathedral. The Liege's entire so-called palace would have fit inside what was meant to be naught but a single room. The Great Cathedral, had it been built, would have been even bigger. But alas, its construction was just getting underway when Dwayne died and the work stopped. The lantern from its dome, however, had already been built and survived. It was brought inside the atrium and dubbed the Chapel of St. Drusus the Warrior. And that's all I know. I wish you luck in your search. I must take my leave. Good luck to you. Glad to see you again.
Let us not dawdle.
About the throne, that's him, isn't it? Poor sap who got his tongue cut out by the anvers. That's the one. I think he was from the Caspalica. Well, his troubles are over now. The upholstery of the dirty sofa moves slightly. Soft hissing can be distinctly heard from the depths of the furniture. A master-crafted power maul.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
One and it's done.
Ryzza. The woman looks to be in her 40s, as she's surveying you with interest. Her right eye appears almost black against her dusky skin, while her left eye emits a greenish light filtered through the smudged lens of her prosthesis. Her arms are tattooed all the way from the base of her shoulders to her knuckles. Looking for something specific? You're buying or maybe selling? Don't be shy, just ask. Old Ryzza knows all kinds of folks. My boys will fetch you anything your heart desires. Let's see what you have to offer. Start here. So, Nippy Swashbuckler's coat. This coat grants the wearer plus 10% parry reduction, plus 5% armor penetration for melee attacks. Medikits, intoxicating elixirs, bayonet knife. When the wielder attacks with any ranged weapon and a 1-cell range, the attack also inflicts bleeding. Serrated Greatsword. On a critical hit, the sword inflicts 1 stack of the laceration effect. For each stack of laceration, all attacks of this sword against the same target deal 10% damage, or plus 10% damage. Grenades, pirate chainmail. Impulse boots. Whenever the wearer makes a melee area attack, they regain plus 2 MP and gain plus 6% critical hit chance. Lasts to the end of the round, and it stacks. My Heretic, trophies, and Xeno artifacts. Alright, a Mazoa pattern auto pistol. And industrial hammer, that's new. Alright, so the bayonet knife I'll probably eventually give to Solomon when he joins our party, but for now, I'll give it to her. Gets the impulse boots as well. He's going chainsword, but since he's an executioner, really this would be really good on him. Alright. Welcome back. Ryzza raises her glass to you, smiles, and winks with her prosthetic eye. Who are these boys you work with? Ryzza lowers her booming, raspy voice. I heard about how the Clipper St. Cognatius got hit recently. The cargo was cleaned out. Everything of value taken. Well, that was my boy's handiwork. No considered confession. Confession? What do you want about? Old Ryzza just likes to embellish when she wants to make an impression. The nonsense she spouts in the presence of important people. We call ourselves the Fellowship of the Void, an association of enterprising, like-minded people who help the upstanding citizens of the Imperium rid themselves of the possessions that are weighing them down. You notice Abelard's face twists in disgust. You see he has a rather strong opinion on the individuals to whom Ryzza refers as the Fellowship of the Void. Pirates, in other words. Ryzza plasters a shocked expression on her face. Please, no need to be so crude. Your esteemed self no doubt is aware that Hieronymus preaches that asceticism is a virtue, and that only by rejecting material wealth can we ascend in faith. Well, I couldn't agree more. We're merely helping the servants of the Imperium to be a little more like Hieronymus, and taking a small commission for our trouble. What kind of goods are you willing to buy? Tech is always the best. If it's broke, no sweat. We'll fix it or take it apart. If you score something so nasty that your fussy everyday traders won't even look at it, fear not. Just bring it on over. Leave it to me and my boys to find the right buyer. My grandpa Bakval says hello. Oh. You've gained a 5 profit factor discount on items from the Fellowship of the Void faction. Ryza's face breaks into a broad smile. That old rascal. I thought he croaked in the mines a long time ago. But old man Bakval's still alive and kicking, you say? Me and him have been through a lot of interesting scrapes together. And oh, all the weird and wonderful things we've acquired. Bakval wouldn't send his regards along with just anyone. You must have done him a good turn. And because of that, old Ryza is going to give you a special discount. Hey, got some more stuff. It's all consumables, but still more stuff. Alright, I better be going. Nice doing business with you. Alright, we're done with the Adeptus Amasecus. I don't remember if we can actually complete the puzzle or the riddle that we got from Gorde or not. It might be blocked off until we can access the quarantine zone. But either way, I am going to call it here. Next time we'll see if we can solve that riddle. I don't remember exactly where everything's at. But if we can't do that, I think we're done on Footfall for now. And we go ahead and leave and do some space exploration. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.